The note says, "Hi, I brought this during the first lockdown thinking I would have time to start eating better and learning to cook more, etc. Well, that didn't happen and this was never used. Good luck." I've eaten lots of wheat pasta, but I have never tried this, so this should be good fun. Lentil and beetroot fusilli contains 46 grams of carbohydrate, 23 grams of protein, 14 grams of fibre and 2.3 grams of fat per 100 grams. The wheat pasta contains 72.5 grams of carbohydrate, 11.5 grams of protein, 3 grams of fibre and 1.3 grams of fat. The lentil one has about a third less carbohydrate and about twice as much protein, about twice as much fibre and about twice as much fat as the wheat pasta, so it's much less carby and higher in other nutrients. I was curious about portion size, so I looked up portion size for pasta and they say 75 grams per person. Recipes tend to say 75 to 100 grams. So I'm going to weigh out 75 grams of each and see what that actually looks like, because I just never bothered before. It also says it's about 2 handfuls. Pretty accurate, 76 grams that says. Same with the wheat pasta then. 1 handful. 2 handfuls. Oh, that's 97 grams. I seem to be pulling out more of the wheat pasta in 2 handfuls than the lentil pasta. So that's the lentil pasta. That's the wheat pasta. And they seem quite similar. I'm going to cook a very simple Sicilian pasta dish called pasta alla Norma. The sauce then. The sauce is really simple. Contains just 5 ingredients. Basil, garlic, aubergine, tomato and cheese. For the aubergine, I think it would be typical to cut it into cubes and fry it for this dish. But I find frying aubergine really hit and miss, and also it can get really, really greasy. Whereas I find grilling it is just works every time and it's always delicious, so I'm going to grill it. I have sliced up the aubergine, put a good glug of olive oil in there, and I've mixed it all up so all the aubergine is now nicely coated in the oil, and I'm just going to put it under a hot grill in one layer until it goes nice and sort of brown and tender, and then I'm going to turn it so it's all sort of golden on both sides. The rest of the sauce then, some chopped up garlic, a tin of whole tomatoes, some basil. I'm going to heat up a pan with a bit of oil in the bottom. Cook this garlic gently without burning it. The garlic's sort of started to cook, it's not burnt. I'm just going to leave it. I'm not going to keep frying it because I don't mind it if it's a bit kind of fresh garlicky, and that's much nicer than burnt garlic. So I'm going to add the tomatoes. Some of the basil goes in now, some of it goes in on the top at the end. I'm just going to put that in, let that cook away for 20 minutes or so, maybe half an hour. Update on the aubergine. They've been under the grill for maybe 10 minutes and you can see they've gone like nice and golden on one side, and that's really soft. It's pretty much cooked, but it's not, nothing's happened on the other side. I'm going to turn them all over and leave them in for maybe another 5 minutes, just until they look kind of the same on the other side really. Here are the aubergines, beautifully cooked now. They're all really tender and yummy and slightly caramelised. I'm just going to chop them up a bit, ready to put in the sauce. Right, so the sauce has been cooking for a while now, and I've got the pasta on as well. So I'm just going to take out this basil, which smells delicious. I'm just going to pop in the aubergine. And just wait for the pasta to cook now. Right, so I have cooked the 75 grams of the wheat pasta and the 75 grams of the lentil pasta, and I'm ashamed to say I took my eye off the ball a little bit, and I think this is kind of overcooked, but it wasn't very forgiving because it wasn't cooked, and then the next thing I knew it kind of seems a bit overcooked, but let's see when we taste it. Okay, it's not overcooked. It's just sort of lost its form a bit. It's quite tasty. The texture's a bit more like whole wheat pasta, I guess. It's got that sort of graininess to it. Ever so slightly sweet. Definitely tastes of what it is. Shouldn't be a surprise, but definitely tastes lentil-y. I don't know what I think of that portion size. I mean, I guess it's plenty, really. I probably normally serve myself more, so that's quite a lesson. Oh, damn, you know what I've done? I've eaten a load of it and I was going to weigh it. How much does it weigh cooked? 155 grams. Let's call it 160 grams. How does that compare to the same amount for the wheat pasta? 145 grams for that. The dietary guide said 75 grams or about 180 grams cooked. That was 75 grams dried, but that is 145 grams cooked. That was 75 grams dried, and that is was that about 160 grams cooked. So neither of them reached the 180, so these figures are a bit, you know. Here then is my lovely sauce. Let's add some on top. And a bit of torn basil. Good sprinkling of this cheese. Cheese is quite an important part of this dish, but it seems like there's some discussion about which cheese is the right cheese. So you can make it with parmesan, which is fine, but they don't really have parmesan in Sicily because they don't have cows because it's too arid, so Sicilian cheese is made of sheep's milk or goat's milk. So if you wanted to be more traditional about it, there seems to be further debate about whether it should be pecorino, which is cheese made from sheep's milk, or this cheese which I have never ever tasted before, called ricotta salata. This is a salted and aged type of ricotta. So this is the traditional cheese, but it's not very easy to get hold of. But having read about it, I suspect that it's not dissimilar from feta, which is obviously not an Italian cheese and therefore really inauthentic, but I suspect this dish would work really well with feta, which is easy to get hold of. Ooh. When I first opened it, I could really smell it, but now it's not. It's quite mild. Still really mild flavour. It's quite delicious. But extremely salty. Quite creamy. Doesn't taste an awful lot different from ricotta, and the flavour it's just sort of quite lightly milky. And it doesn't taste very sheepy. It's made with ewe's milk. I reminded myself what feta's like. But the feta's a bit drier actually, and less salty, more kind of goaty, sheepy tasting. I mean, it's kind of more flavoursome. This is milder, but saltier. And this pecorino. Quite tangy, much more tangy, the tangiest of them. The texture of a sort of middle mature cheddar, not a mature cheddar. Also quite salty, quite tasty. Any of these cheeses would be great with it. Oh god, the smell of basil is so good. It's just got a really nice texture. The mildness of that cheese is really nice. It's kind of creamy rather than sort of spicy like a parmesan would be. I love that chewiness of the skin of the aubergine. And the basil and the aubergine is just a lovely combination. It's lovely. It's kind of fresh. It's not like a really deep, rich sauce. It's nothing like a bolognese or something. It's not got that kind of intensity. It's fresh and fragrant and simple and yummy.